My name is Emma. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My family was simple. My parents worked hard, and they always wanted the best for me. As a little girl, I dreamed of traveling the world. But one thing stopped me. I didn't speak good English. I remember my first day at school. I was shy. I didn't know how to say hello to new friends. I wanted to speak, but words wouldn't come out. I felt scared, like a bird stuck in a cage. My teacher smiled at me. She told me, "Emma, don't worry. You will learn." Every night, I practiced English. My mom would help me. She would say, one step at a time. Her words felt like a warm hug. Slowly, I learned new words. Apple book friend. Each word was like a small victory. In high school, I was still nervous about speaking English. I would hide behind my books. But there was one moment that changed everything. It was during a school play. I was asked to speak one line on stage. My heart raced. I was scared. But I said it. The crowd clapped. I felt so happy, I cried. That day, I realized speaking English was not so scary. As I grew older, I wanted to learn more. My dream was to go to London, but London felt so far. I didn't know if I was ready. But one summer, I saved up money and booked a ticket. The day I left for London, my mom hugged me tightly. She whispered, "You are ready, Emma." When I arrived in London, the city was big and beautiful. The buildings were tall, the streets were busy, but I felt lost. Everyone spoke so fast. I couldn't understand. My heart sank. I felt tears in my eyes. I missed home. I missed the slow, soft way my mom spoke to me. I walked around London, trying to talk to people. Sometimes they didn't understand me. I felt small. But I remembered what my teacher said, "Don't worry. You will learn," and I didn't give up. I started by learning new phrases every day. I would write them down in my notebook. Simple ones like, "Where is the train station?" or "How much is this?" I would practice with people in cafes and shops. They smiled when I tried, and that made me feel good. One day, I met a girl named Sarah. She was from California, just like me, and she also felt lost in London. We became friends. We would walk around the city together, helping each other with English. Sarah would laugh and say, "Emma, we're getting better every day." Her laughter always made me feel better. We went to museums and parks, practicing English everywhere we went. We would sit by the river, talking about our families and dreams. "Do you think we'll ever be fluent?" Sarah asked one day. I smiled and said, "Yes, we just have to keep trying." Some days were harder than others. There were moments when I felt like giving up. I would call my mom, and she would remind me of how far I'd come. Emma, she'd say, "Remember the school play? You were scared, but you did it. You'll do this too." One rainy afternoon in London, I found myself in a bookstore. I picked up a book called The Power of Words. It had a quote that stuck with me. Language is not just about speaking, it's about connecting hearts. Tears filled my eyes. I realized English was not just a tool, it was a bridge between me and the world. After months of living in London, I noticed a change in myself. I wasn't scared to speak anymore. My words flowed more easily. I made new friends. I could understand jokes, have deep conversations, and even help others with English. Sarah and I joined an English club in the city. Every week we would meet people from all over the world, all learning English like us. We shared our stories, our struggles, and our victories. It was a place full of kindness and patience. No one judged you for making mistakes. In fact, they encouraged you to make them, because that's how we learn. One day, I stood in front of the group and gave a speech about my journey. I talked about my first day in school, the school play, and my trip to London. As I spoke, I felt tears in my eyes. But this time, they were not tears of fear. They were tears of pride. I was proud of how far I had come. I told the group, English is not just a language. It's a key. A key to new places, new people, and new dreams. Looking back, I see how learning English helped me grow. It gave me the confidence to travel, to meet new people, and to chase my dreams. But most of all, it helped me understand that no matter where we are from, we are all connected by our stories. So, here are some tips I learned on my journey. Start small. Just like I did with words like apple and book, every word is a step forward. Practice every day. Even if it's just talking to yourself in the mirror, it all helps. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. I made many, but each one taught me something new. Find a friend to learn with. Like Sarah, a friend makes the journey less lonely and a lot more fun. Use English in real life. Talk to people, ask questions, even if you're nervous. Each conversation is practice. Believe in yourself. Just like my mom believed in me. Confidence grows with time, but it starts with believing you can do it. Enjoy the process. Learning is not just about the end goal. It's about the moments in between, the memories you create, and the people you meet. English opened doors for me. It took me to London, helped me make lifelong friends, and made me stronger. It taught me that no dream is too big if you take small steps every day. Now, I want to leave you with a thought. Language is not just words. It's the key to understanding hearts, dreams, and the world. As I spent more time in London, something magical happened. I began to love the city. The tall buildings, the busy streets, and the quiet parks all felt like home. I no longer felt lost. I felt free. It was as if learning English opened my eyes to the beauty around me. One day, I got lost while exploring a new part of the city. I was nervous, but instead of panicking, I asked a stranger for directions. The man smiled and helped me find my way. It was a small moment, but I felt proud. I didn't need to hide anymore. I could communicate with the world around me. I began to notice that people were kinder when I spoke with confidence. They listened closely and they appreciated my effort. I realized something important. It's not about speaking perfectly. It's about being brave enough to try. I started carrying a small notebook everywhere I went. I would write down new words I heard on the street, in cafes, or while talking to strangers. Each word felt like a treasure. Some days I would sit by the river, flipping through my notebook, repeating the words to myself. One memory I hold close to my heart is the time I met Mrs. Johnson, an old lady who lived near my apartment in London. She loved to garden, and every afternoon I would see her outside, tending to her flowers. One day I gathered the courage to speak to her. I said, "Your flowers are beautiful." Her face lit up, and she invited me to sit with her. We talked for hours. She told me stories of her youth, of love and loss, of hope and dreams. Her voice was gentle, and her words were filled with wisdom. "Emma," she said, "life is like a garden. It takes time, patience, and care. But if you give it love, it will bloom." Tears welled up in my eyes. Mrs. Johnson's words stayed with me, reminding me that learning English, like life, was a process that required patience and love. One day, I faced a big challenge. I had to give a presentation in front of my class at the English club. My heart raced as I stood before my classmates. My hands were shaking, and I could feel the weight of everyone's eyes on me. But then, I remembered Mrs. Johnson's words. Life takes patience. I took a deep breath and began to speak. My voice was shaky at first, but as I continued, it became stronger. When I finished, the room was quiet for a moment. Then, they clapped. I couldn't help but smile, feeling the warmth of their support. After the presentation, I sat in a park, thinking about how far I had come. I realized that English wasn't just a tool for communication. It had become a part of who I was. It had helped me grow, not just as a speaker, but as a person. One evening, Sarah and I decided to visit the London Eye, the big Ferris wheel that overlooks the city. As we reached the top, the sun was setting, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. The view was breathtaking. We stood there, silent for a moment, taking in the beauty of the city we had come to love. Sarah looked at me and said, "Emma, can you believe we made it here?" I smiled and replied, "Yes, we did. And we didn't just come to London. We found ourselves here." That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about how much English had changed my life. It wasn't just about learning a language. It was about discovering new parts of myself, finding strength in moments of weakness, and building connections with people from all walks of life. But it wasn't always easy. There were moments when I felt like giving up. I remember one rainy day when nothing seemed to go right. I couldn't understand the people I spoke to, and I felt embarrassed. I came home that evening, sat by the window, and cried. I called my mom, my voice shaking. "Mom, I don't think I can do this anymore," I said. She listened quietly. Then she said, "Emma, remember the first time you rode a bike? You fell many times, but you kept getting back up. This is just like that. You'll get back up." Her words gave me the strength to continue. And slowly, day by day, I improved. Each conversation became a little easier, each word a little clearer. I realized that the only way to truly fail was to stop trying. If I could go back and give my younger self some advice, I would say be kind to yourself. Learning is not a race. Everyone learns at their own pace. Here are more tips that helped me improve my English, and they might help you too. Read simple books. Start with children's books or short stories. Reading helps you see how sentences are formed and introduces you to new vocabulary. Watch movies or shows in English. Turn on subtitles at first, then try without them. It's a fun way to learn how native speakers talk. Speak out loud. Even if you're alone, talk to yourself. This helps your brain get used to forming English sentences. Record yourself speaking. Listen to it later and see how you can improve. Don't be shy about how you sound. You're learning. Join a language exchange group. This is where people from different countries practice speaking with each other. It's a great way to learn and make friends. Use flashcards. Write new words on flashcards and carry them with you. Look at them whenever you have a free moment. Set small goals. Instead of thinking about fluency, focus on little milestones, like learning 5 new words a day or having a short conversation. English has given me so many gifts. It has taken me to places I never thought I'd go. It has introduced me to people who have changed my life. And most of all, it has given me the confidence to believe in myself. There's a beautiful thought I want to share with you. Every word you learn is a step towards a bigger world, a world full of new opportunities, new friendships, and new dreams. As I sit here, thinking about my journey, I realize that learning English wasn't just about mastering a language. It was about finding my voice, a voice that had always been inside me, waiting to be heard. I believe we all have that voice. Whether you're just starting to learn English or you're on your way to fluency, remember that your voice matters. Your words, no matter how simple, have the power to connect you with the world. Now, I want to ask you, what's your English learning story? How has it changed your life? Let's share our stories and inspire each other to keep going.